Hello and welcome to another episode of Dishin with Andy. Today's episode is a suggestion by viewer Dubs. Wants to know my favorite Star Trek episodes. Alright, so I'm going to go over the Star Trek series that I like and actually the movies too. When I say I like, now there's a few I haven't watched much of and then I'll get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the original series. Love the original series. I am a Captain Kirk fan. Favorite episodes of mine in that, and I'm going to go with the ones that stick out in my mind. Now, I like a lot of different Star Trek episodes than normal people. I like, for instance, TNG. I like a lot of the earlier episodes than the later ones. When it got all established, it didn't feel like they were doing a lot of the, it felt like they got away from the science fiction more and got onto like a geopolitical type sense. But anyways, to start off, the classic series, the original series, I'm a big fan of Space Seed, of course. Ricardo Montalban, Khan, I mean, how can you not love that episode? The whole premise of finding humans from Earth, from hundreds of years ago in the past, on a spaceship cruising out into space. It's a great episode. Ricardo Montalban is awesome in it, just like he is in the movie. Highly recommend it. Another one I like is A Piece of the Action, the one where Kirk and Spock, they have to basically, someone left a communicator on a planet, and I think like a crime novel or something, and the entire civilization built their entire world around, because they mimic whatever they find, and they built the entire civilization around the crime novel, and maybe not even a crime novel, it might have been like a book about gangsters or something. I can't remember exactly. I haven't watched it in a while. And I also like the episode Return to Tomorrow. That one has a younger Diana Muldaur. I think she played Dr. Pulaski in the Next Gen. She is in the episode, and basically Kirk and crew go to a planet and they meet Sargon, who is part of a civilization that is now gone. They're wiped off the face of their own planet, except for 3 of them that live deep, like 10,000 miles or some crazy number like that below the surface. And they exist in these orb-type things. There's only 3 of them left. And Sargon is a leader. He takes over Kirk's body. And it's William Shatner hamming it up like usual. And it's a pretty good episode. Another good one is the one where, I can't remember the name, but Kirk gets duplicated by the transporter. My dad and I always joke around with each other. The way Kirk yells, "I want to live!" It's quite comical. Okay, so that covers the original series. Some of them are wacky, some of them are really good. I bet you're surprised I didn't say Edge of the World of Tomorrow or whatever. The one where the girl stops America from going into World War II, and it's got the gatekeeper of tomorrow. That's, not trying to be hipster or something about it, but I mean, it's an okay episode. It's not bad. There's certainly a lot of worse episodes like Cat's Paw. I mean, Let's move on to Next Gen. Now, Next Gen was on when I was a kid. Obviously, original wasn't. I had watched it in reruns and stuff. But Next Gen was actually airing while I was a kid. And my all-time favorite episode is The Royale. Love that episode. I know you're thinking, what in the world? What is that? That's the one where some Klingons find debris from Earth in space around this foreign planet. Sorry about that. They beam it aboard the Enterprise, and it is parts of a NASA ship. And they go down to this planet. Riker, Data, and Worf are trapped, and there's this like revolving door, and it is a casino, and they have to play out the plot of the book to get out of it. Why do I like it? It reminds me of an episode that they would have done on the original series. That's why I like it. It's got that kind of vibe to it. I think it's pretty cool. I like that vibe of Star Trek, not the established Star Trek. Like, when they started talking about, what was it? Cardassians were keeping I think Bajorans or something, and that bled into other series and all that. I don't need fake politics from a imaginary world. Watch stuff like this to get away from those kinds of things. I don't mind, obviously, the moral messages of the broader Star Trek, especially the original, with its morality plays. That stuff's okay, but when you start getting in, making up your own political stuff, it's just, what? So, yeah, that episode's good. I also like the Drumhead. That's a Season 4 episode, so it's not one of the earlier ones, but it's still pretty early on in the series. Just the idea of the woman kind of being crazy. I like the episode where, I don't know the name of it, but they go, and there's like a giant bug taking over the Federation, and they blow up a guy's head. The episode's crazy, but I like the premise of it. I also like the episode with the Iconians. And the ship that was a sister ship to the Enterprise, the Yamato, blowing up because of the operating system being overwritten by the probe off of the Iconian homeworld. I like that idea of ancient, super advanced civilizations that they're uncovering, and they don't cover it too much. They do a little bit in a couple other early season episodes, but that's about it. It's kind of neat, though, to think about that. The one where they get stuck in that minefield because those two ships are stuck there and they're sucking power. Things like that. I like things like that in my Star Trek. I also like the Big Goodbye episode. That was the one where I started, like I said, I started watching Bogart movies because of it. And one of the guys in there, his name is Cyrus Redblock instead of Sidney Greenstreet. So I thought that was a kind of cool nod to those classic films. And that's pretty, Parallels, if you want to pick a later season episode of TNG, I like Parallels, the one where Worf is stuck in the time loop. Those kinds of episodes are really cool to me, especially like Stargate, the one where the O'Neill is repeating every day over and over again. I like Groundhog Day type stories. They're pretty fun. There's a lot of imagination because you're like, wow, if that happened, I could do X, Y, and Z and, get away with it. It's just kind of a fun thing. DS9, moving along. I didn't really watch much DS9. I tried to watch it. I watched a couple seasons. I've seen a few episodes here and there. Obviously, the one with the original series cast is pretty cool. I like the concept of it. A lot of fun. But overall, the series, I don't know. I just could not get into it. I really couldn't. Voyager is one that I really could get into. I watched it with my dad, and we used to watch it every Saturday. That's when it came on here, and we always had a lot of fun, except for sometimes it ran on Sundays after, I forget what it was. It was Sundays, like at 11 p.m. or something. It aired locally here, but it was also on Saturdays at like 5 or 6 or something like that, and we would watch it together. A lot of good episodes in that series. If you wonder why I'm looking over here, I got some notes because there's a lot of episodes I'm trying to list off here. I like the episode Timeless a lot. That's the 100th episode that was broadcasted. That's where Voyager makes it to a planet in the Beta Quadrant, and the two surviving people are trying to dig in it. I think it's like Kim and Chakotay. They're trying to dig up the Voyager, and Geordi's there, and he's trying to stop them. It's a pretty cool episode. I like the idea of it. And another one is Year of Hell. That's a pretty cool episode. I think it's the whole idea of everything going on there. It's a two-parter, and it takes place over an entire year. And the Voyager just gets trashed over that year. There's also, some other great episodes, like the one where the ship is stuck in that black void. That's a pretty cool episode. There's a lot of neat things on there. Am I a Kess or am I a 7 of 9 fan? Jump cut, sorry. Got a phone call. That's what I was checking. I heard something vibrating over here. Am I a Kess or 7 of 9 fan? Probably more of a 7 or 9 fan. Jennifer Leon, I think that's how you say her name. She did a good job, but the character's powers weren't really ever, it was just too mysterious, and not much of a Neelix fan either. Favorite characters on the show of Voyager? Tuvok, Kim, Paris, of course. Paris is probably the top favorite character of mine on the show. He's just kind of a cool dude. Always does the right thing, even if it means getting in trouble, and he shows that a lot. So now let's get on to Enterprise. Not a big fan of this show. I've seen the entire thing. I went through it. I think the first 2 seasons are just here and there. Little episodes are pretty cool, but I think the idea, the season 3 whole arc was, I think, a good direction for the show. It needed something like that to kind of give it a kick. The whole, like, it seemed to get resolved too quickly, I think, and then season 4 just right back down. The finale, what was that? A random episode from TNG, the one where they're stuck in a asteroid. Weird. I don't think, character Riker, my favorite character on TNG, I don't think he would need guidance from a computer program that has nothing, from a program that has nothing to do with the right thing in that regard. Riker didn't kill himself or suicide himself to save the ship like Trip did. It just, I never really got that concept. I've seen that episode a few times. Obviously, I love the CGI work and stuff, and the very ending where they're going through the different ships and using different clips and stuff. Back to TNG for just a second. One episode I really do like, and it's, I think, the finale of the first season, and that is the one with, they find it's like a satellite from Earth floating out, and it's going to hit this star, I believe, and it is... They find that there's life forms on board, and they go and they get them out of there in the nick of time, and they're humans from like 1980s or something, 1980s Earth, and I like that idea, especially the shrewd businessman on there that basically barges his way onto the bridge, and he tells Picard that the Romulans don't know anything about what Picard's asking them, and Picard's like, he's right, but get him off my bridge. It just shows that, when you know something like that, you kind of know it. It's a cool episode. It also is the technical first thing of the Borg, because those missing colonies, as we know in season 2, end up being from the Borg. So they were clear back, kind of foreshadowed at the very end of season 1 of TNG. Kind of a neat little concept. I don't know if that's what they ended up, like if that was the original idea, but that's how it was portrayed. So those are kinds of my favorite episodes of the original grouping of Star Trek, as I like to call it. You had your original series, and then you have the 90s and 2000s kind of series, and the newer stuff today, Discovery, Picard, and the animated original series, Lower Decks. I've seen every episode of Discovery, I've seen every episode of Picard, and I've seen a few episodes of the animated, and have not seen Lower Decks. I'm not interested in that show. A friend of mine tried to get me to watch it, and just seeing the commercials, I'm like, what? It looks like cheap animation to me. Like in the background, I think some characters are sitting. They don't even have chairs. It's just random stuff like that. I don't like the new stuff. Discovery, it's too adult. I don't need random cussing in Star Trek. I don't need I don't know. The plots are all over the place. Didn't care for it. Season 2, the guy that played Spock did an okay job. Season 3, the whole future thing, kind of neat, but also the whole reason for why the event happened is just like mind-numbingly stupid, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You like it, more power to you. Picard, what in the world was that show? You had the perfect, easy way to make Picard. You really did. You had... Picard should never not been captain. And that's because Kirk told him, don't ever leave your starship. Yeah, I know he's an old man, but maybe he could have been the one captain that refuses to step down because of his age, or he feels he's missing something, and he gets his crew wound up in some crazy adventure to unravel something. That's what they could have done. They could have went there, but instead we get Picard going to a planet and running into Hugh, and it has to do with Data being tore apart because of what happened to him in Nemesis, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the show. I didn't like the tone. I didn't like anything about it. It was too just again, geopolitical and stuff, leave that out. I want good science fiction. I want things that ask questions. You know, like I just don't understand it. I didn't care for the show. Once again, if you like it, good for you. Happy for you. It just wasn't my thing. It just wasn't. Wasn't a fan. I was actually very let down by it, especially at the end of what happened to him. And I know this was filmed before what happened to the whole world, but it premiered at a really bad time for it. And I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen the series. But keep in mind, it came out in 2020, and we all know what happened then. And we all know, well, and then if you watch this series, what happens to Picard, and keep in mind he's an old man, then we kind of know, you kind of realize, wow, this is a weird time to be, premiering this. Now would have been a better time, probably. But yeah, so overall, that's the series. Now, the movies, first one, it's boring. It's long. It is interesting. It's like a super extended original series episode. If you ever get a chance to see the brand new director's version where they add in some CGI, some of that stuff is cool. They kind of make the inside of V'ger look like a Borg vehicle. It's cool. Wrath of Khan, my favorite. One of my favorite films of all time. Just love that movie. Love the music. Love the whole idea of a person sacrificing themselves to save their friends. No, I don't love it that people have to do that. You can feel the love between the characters, I'll put it that way. Now, growing up, I didn't think Star Trek 3 was a good film. I thought Star Trek 4 was a much better film. Rewatching it as an adult, I think 3 is way better than 4. I think it's overlooked because it's obviously an odd number, but Christopher Lloyd plays an excellent villain in that movie. Him and Kirk have an epic fight, and when Kirk's son gets killed in that movie, you can see the hurt in his eyes. When Kirk sits down on the chair, or misses the chair and sits on the floor, and he's a broken person, you can feel it so good. 4 is good as far as a comedy film. It's okay. It's obviously geopolitical with the whole humpback whale thing, but at the time they were pretty endangered. I don't know. It's kind of hard to take, and yeah, it's kind of cool what happens to the crew at the end, but why don't we ever see that girl anymore? Obviously, it's just the girl of the week for Kirk. 5, I like the message. The movie, though, my favorite scene in 5 is the scene where they break out, and they're standing, Kirk, McCoy, and Spock are like in this waiting area, lobby type thing. Cybok comes in, and he starts taking away their pain. And Kirk says this little line about, I need my pain. It makes me who I am. Should I turn left when I should have turned right? Should have taken Janice, I think, date Janice or something like that. He said, without pain, it makes us who we are not. I'll probably clip it in here right now.
What have you done to my friends?
I've done nothing. This is who they are. Didn't you know that?
No, I didn't.
Now learn something about yourself.
No, I refuse.
Jim, try to be open about this.
About what? I've made the wrong choices in my life? That I turned left when I should have turned right? I know what my weaknesses are. I don't need Cybok to take me on a tour of them.
If you just unbend at all.
And be brainwashed by this con man?
I was wrong. This con man took away my pain.
Damn it, Bones, you're a doctor. You know that pain and guilt can't be taken away with the wave of a magic wand. They're the things we carry with us, the things that make us who we are. If we lose them, we lose ourselves. I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain.
But I love that whole speech because he's right. Our pain becomes who we are. It's what weaves us into the people we are. After some events I went through last year alone, I'm starting to understand the angry old man that tells people to get off his lawn. I won't get into the details, but it's just, yeah, we are the pain that we are. That it makes us who we are. It molds us. Star Trek 6, phenomenal film. Should have not been a 7 for Kirk and them. That should have been the way out. That was a great send-off, a great story. a classic, once again, it kind of mirrors Cold War things between Earth or on Earth here between the U.S. and Russia at the time in the 80s. But it's a great movie. Love the idea. Love the little prison planet. All the little gags in there. Good stuff. Star Trek 7, watched as a kid in the theater. Really? You're going to kill Kirk by having him fall off of a literal bridge? You couldn't have killed him in a more heroic way? You had to go with falling off and this ribbon thing? Nobody's ever brought it up before? I mean, when they write these things, what are they thinking? You had William Shatner. He's willing to die in the film. Let the man go down with the Enterprise D or something. I mean, just, what? Obviously, First Contact. Tremendously good film. The Borg, I remember watching it as a kid, or teenager, I guess, and I had a nightmare about spiders because of it. Good film. Love the way the Enterprise E looks. I think it's pretty cool. Insurrection, didn't really care for that film. Didn't care for it the day I watched it in the theater. I thought it was a dud, and I've rewatched it a few times. Don't like it. It's like a waste of a TNG film, in my opinion. And the last one, Nemesis. I thought it would have been a decent send-off for the Enterprise TNG crew. I know it's the whole idea of the clone of Picard and stuff is kind of goofy, but I think it works in that he's kind of facing a dark version of himself. They didn't really have the mirror universe in TNG, so this is kind of Picard's chance to kind of face a dark version of himself. Plus, the action is phenomenal. I love the Enterprise E crashing into the other ship. Things like that are cool. The whole Data sacrifice thing, good idea. It worked for Spock. Why not Data? Should have left him dead. I think it was okay. Probably second place behind First Contact in my book. I think they did really good. The only thing I didn't care for was the ATV vehicle and yet another Data clone. Like, really? If you want to bring Data back for Picard, just say B4 got his memory, because that's how they did it in the comic book for the new Star Trek reboots. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on the original run of movies. The new movies with Kirk and Spock and crew again. I think the first one was good. I think they nailed it. Got it right out of the park. Classic Spock was there. Good movie. Second movie, okay, it's a remake of Wrath of Khan. Not horrible, though. I think it's okay. It certainly wasn't as good as the first one, but it worked. And then the third one, yet another phone call. Jump cut, sorry. Third movie, didn't really care for it. I like the star base they go to. I like the way the Enterprise got destroyed, but the whole thing being stuck on a planet and the bad guy just being it's like the new Star Trek movies are all about, other than the one dude being from Romulus being destroyed, but Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3 basically have the same bad guy. No, it's not Benedict Cumberbatch, it's just Starfleet going bad. Like, get a new idea. I did not care for that idea of the plot. And who knows, they're even going to make a fourth. The guy that plays Chekhov, Anton Yelchin, poor guy's dead. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on the newer movies. I did like the nod at the beginning of the third one, though, to the original series thing, saying things are getting episodic. And it kind of reminds me of an original Star Trek episode with the little guys and the running around. I can see that. But yeah, this was Dishin with Andy yet again. I'm out of dishes. And I'm going to close this dishwasher up, and we'll see you next time when we're going to discuss good sci-fi. And that is the movie Blade Runner, the original. And then I pre-recorded those. And then I'm going to talk about Blade Runner 2049 in a different episode. I say I'm going to talk about it in the next one, but I don't, because it bleeds over way too long. You'll see when we get there. But thanks for hanging out with me and doing my dishes. Have a good time wherever you are.